I tried to grab them. But I have to say, the first one, I started something very simple, and I slightly cheated because I raided the kids' toy cupboard. So I made, don't know if you can see it.
You'll need to hold it up.
Hold it up.
Okay, there.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a little jam jar bottle. And I raided the kids' toys, and I made a little kind of football match in it. But what I was really interested in was trying to get a crowd in there, just the idea of being in a crowd. And what I did, I cut the top of the bottle off, put a bit of perspex on because I thought it looked actually more interesting from that way. But it was very straightforward and easy to do, and it was just sort of cutting my teeth. The second one, as I said, my bottles were much more generic, but I was really interested in all the kind of news around Black Lives Matter and the statue of Colston being pushed into the harbour. So I wanted to make something with statues underwater or sculpture monuments underwater. So I tried to do the water. I found a bit of perspex, and I used perspex and Fimo basically. And I found a coffee jar, so you can see sort of all the way around the water. But I think the thing that I found challenging was getting scales right. And I think it's an overcomplicated and too busy bottle. And then finding an order to put things in, that was a really difficult bit. But the scale thing really threw me to begin with. Either looking too small or awkward or scales in relation to one another. But I think the next thing I'm going to try is one with a neck. So this was, again, a smaller bottle, but yeah. So I've been working my way up. But it's been interesting to do, actually, and just thinking about how you make an idea visual was fun, challenging. So that's my two little bottles.
Yeah, so I had a very clear idea in my mind of what I wanted. And my whole journey through this was kind of getting more and more frustrated that my perfect idea, I couldn't make it work. So I did, so I'll show you. So this is, this is called Dancing in the Esplanade. So it was supposed to be a chain of dancers very neatly in a line. That, it turns out, is bloody impossible.
There's not much line dancing goes on in Watchet anyway.
Yeah.
This is true.
There's never been any neat dancing in the Esplanade.
No. So I'd watched all of these videos, and there's some really good Japanese ones of how you put origami in bottles, and I was like, brilliant. But what they did is they poured glue into the bottle to create this kind of, they used much smaller bottles, and then this kind of clever glue wave. Right. And then you can hold things in the glue wave. And I was like, great, I'm going to do that. Yeah, a glue gun in a bottle. I don't know whether or not, oh my good God.
How many bottles did you go through?
Well, only this one, because Fiona taught me how to, you can pick it out. I spent about an hour picking glue out.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
I love the simplicity of yours, Georgie. Yeah. I think mine got overcomplicated and fussy, and yours got a beautiful elegance. Very nice.
Oh, can you hold it up again, Georgie, so I can do a screenshot of you?
I see the upside down person who's really getting into it.
Also, presumably, you can look at it from all sides, which really works well. Yeah. Lovely. Yeah. Really nice.
So so it's also quite fun drawing all the different people. I quite enjoyed finding the right, that was quite fun, and learning about chain dollies. But the other mistake I made was being too complicated about putting the chain dollies in the bottle. I was trying to do complicated folding things and then rolling them up, and that didn't work. But it turns out the easiest thing is just to gently push them in as they are. But that took me ages to figure that simple thing out. Yeah, so once I'd given up with the idea of having something neat and just started pushing them in and realised that it was quite fun having them messy, fine. Became much easier.
I love how much it totally does sum up Watchet community in such an elegant way. It's like dancing in the Esplanade. It's like the best thing ever, and you've done it brilliantly.
Especially as it's in a gin bottle.
Yeah. Okay. So I I'm rather disappointed with my bottle. It did not quite turn out how I expected. Despite 3-4 goes at the method that I was using, it just wasn't going right, and so I ran out of time. So I've just shoved it in a bottle today, and it's not ideal. So in terms of my ideas, I kind of was thinking about my connection with Watchet, and there's kind of 2 eras. There's kind of like childhood memories of going, and I sort of explored that a little bit. And then I thought about, well, no, because more relevant is my kind of connection with Watchet now. So I thought, well, that's mainly through my work, and obviously through my work I've made some wonderful friends in Watchet. But it's my work that kind of drew me to the place, and the connections that I have there. So I kind of thought, well, I'll show you what I'll show you what I've done. I've done some John England inspired nail art.
Oh wow!
In a bottle, but so the image, which you can't see very well at all, is based on Hokusai's wave. Which
I got that.
Did you get that, Neville?
Yeah, no, I can see the wave. That's lovely. Right.
Brilliant.
The reason I'm not very happy with it is because it looked beautiful, flat, coiled up, cylindrical, not so good. Because you can't see it all in one picture, you have to turn it. And then
that's nice.
also, I had to cut the cardboard an extra cut, basically, than what I was expecting to. So I was hoping to just get it all in one piece and join it at the one join, but it wouldn't fit. And I ruined a few nails and had to do some funny fudging of glue and nails this morning. So I had to cut it right where you really want no cut to be, in the middle of the image, basically. But the wave was kind of was an exhibition that we put on at Contesa just before I joined Neville, to kind of celebrate arts education, and as a sort of way of encouraging schools to be more creative and to develop kind of pupils' creativities, basically. So it was kind of very relevant to the work that I do now. So that's why I chose kind of the wave, and then the nails were kind of a sort of a little nod to sort of modern times in Watchet, kind of new ways, new methods. You've seen the Nail Man, I take it. Yeah. As well as its kind of weird and wacky kind of side as well.
What's really nice about it, it's like a kind of design in a bottle, and that works really well. It's a bit like Georgie's has a sort of simplicity and an elegance to it. It's great.
I like the fact that you have to spin it to see the whole thing.
Yeah, it could do with being suspended so that you could hang it and then you could twizzle it or something. But yeah, I think it still needs a bit more work. But well,
I think that's the whole point of us doing this. I learned loads. I made so many mistakes. I mean, that's it's to make the mistakes so we can kind of inform others a little bit of what we've learned.
Yeah. And it's also, I was thinking about, you know, because I kind of decided on the nail art before I decided on the image, and you know, and you know, so it's, what do you choose first, the method or your idea? Do you know what I mean? So here we go.
Beautiful.
Okay, so what it is for me is it's taking place in Watchet. It's a conversation between a range of people.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I miss, which is the kind of intellectual discussion that we have. Okay, they're talking about East Quay on the projector screen at the end, and you have Frida Kahlo, Picasso, Greta Thunberg, James Cameron, raising a glass to the Watchet party. But I think Greta Thunberg's got the table, as it were. So, okay.
Wow, that's
So
amazing.
I then, it was kind of, okay, so how would I do this? And to begin with, a lot of discussion with Nick. And I thought I'd have 2 lines of people, but in fact, as you see, I've only got 1, because you realise, although you want to see the bottle from different angles, it was all getting a bit too complicated. So then I started to kind of select my people and cut them out. And I had them on something I knew I could put in and out of a bottle. But it was all about scale, as you said, Neville.
Yeah.
And I had to fiddle about with them on my computer to get the heads roughly the same size. And I kind of found them online. I cut up an art book, did all sorts of things. And then it was sort of, they were going to be behind a table. And making the structure and thinking about the floor and how you make the floor horizontal in a bottle.
Yeah.
And there's the table. Everything here is out of card and paper.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And we didn't have the right glue. Double-sided tape was fantastic. And trying things out kind of before you put them in, and whether the table had to change size and things like that.
What are the nice chocolates in the middle?
Well, they could be chocolates, it could be apples. They're actually little Indian seeds from my grandmother years and years and years ago when she lived in India. But it was kind of what I could find. I didn't have any kids' toys. So it was
Lovely.
And then great debate. Nick helped me make the table. I did the figures. Great discussion as to what the papers on the table were. He thought it should be about the Arts Council. I thought it definitely shouldn't be about the Arts Council. And that it should be fun.
Yeah.
So
That's lovely.
I think that's
Beautiful.
Lovely.
so that's it. And then and the other thing was I had to kind of build a stand, because otherwise the bottle doesn't stay upright. So it's just out of cardboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did that take you, Tessa?
4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
I started rather late.
Like 6 o'clock yesterday.
So I had to kind of get on with it. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I really enjoyed doing it. But I also reflected that kind of, in a way, I don't do enough of this. So I didn't have all the right things, and I wasn't going to rush off and buy glue or anything. So I just had to work with what we had.
Yeah. Great, well done.
So, having seen everybody else's, mine is neither simplistic, elegant, artistic, because Georgie tells me it looks like a scene from Pingu.
In the best way.
So mine is, can you see that okay? Mine's a garden in a bottle.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, so we have trees and bushes. We have a patio. I tip it down and roll it round. See it from all the angles. And we have a nice big glass with a straw